All right, welcome to On Time Sports Radio. I am the remix Casey Schedule. The original Eddie Schedule is out doing dad things, supporting our little sister, playing volleyball right now. Hopefully, she's killing it. Bump set spike, y'all. Bump set spike. But I'm here to give my take. I'm going to give my take on last night's game, UConn, Iowa. I log on to Twitter. I knew it was coming. All these jabronis out here, a la The Rock right there. All of them out there saying, you can't call that foul, that offensive foul. And you know what I'm talking about. And everyone's talking about one dang play. Listen to Paige Beckers, please. It's 40 minutes of basketball. It's many, many plays that make up a win or a loss. But let's talk about the play. For those who don't know, I've been a coach for 15 years. I've been a basketball coach for 15 years. I fell in love with the game in sixth grade, been playing ever since. Grew up playing in the parks, not on AAU teams, with grown men. Played in some shady places that gave me some unique basketball education. Ask my big brother Damien in Columbus, Ohio about that. But let's get to the call. Referee, 100% correct. It was the right call, ladies and gentlemen. Wide stance. One of the first things we had to start teaching our players about 5-6 years ago is narrowing their stance. Super wide stance. Led with the hip, the knee, the elbow, leaned into it, borderline hockey check potentially. It's an illegal screen, guys. There's no argument in that. Now, people on Twitter, people on social media, everywhere I see saying, you got to swallow your whistle in that situation. The situation, you can't call that. Guys, let me tell you this. When do well, let me ask you this. When do you want the rule book to apply? Just the first 3 quarters of the game? First 38 minutes? You're saying let the players decide the game. Guess what they did to decide the game? She decided to set an illegal screen. The Iowa player decided to fight through the screen. If she wouldn't have fought through the screen, there would have been an illegal screen call. So kudos to the Iowa player. Marshall, I think it was. But you can't have it both ways. You can't apply the rule book some of the time. That's the problem with the NBA. I'm going to transition a little bit. The NBA, they don't apply the rule book all the time. And the same people complain about it. The same people complain about it. The higher you go in basketball, I'm convinced the less basketball you got to know how to play. There are the same amount of travels in the NBA as a 7th grade B team basketball game. And they call it more in 7th grade. And these are supposed to be the professionals, the best in the world, who can't pivot with both feet, who can't spin move without traveling. It's why I don't watch much NBA anymore. I can't stand it. I just saw right before I got on here, people complaining about the Chris Paul travel. 100% of travel. 3 steps. Did they change the rule book? I know it's the NBA. People say, "Oh, but it was a travel, guys." You can look up YouTube highlights of all the worst non-travel calls over the last 10, 15 years. It was funny. I went back, I watched Michael Jordan highlights, and none of them traveled. Legitimately. I was like, this man did it with footwork. It's crazy. But back to last night, it was an incredible game. Paige Beckers, U Conn, as well as Caitlin Clark, Iowa. Just an incredible, incredible game. If you're focused on one play, you're basketball ignorant. If that's all, if you're blaming it on that, if you're the coach and you're blaming it on that, I'm sorry. You're not worth your salt. Because you know it's more than one play. You may get a bad call here and there, but if you're complaining about the referees, what example are you showing? Come on now. Be better. You got to be better in this. But to the referee, I want you refereeing my next game. Because I know you're going to make the right call in the tough spot. and you're not going to let any BS affect you. Congratulations. You did your job. And us that know are proud of you for having the fortitude to make the call. Because if you don't make the call, maybe it's a different game. Maybe Iowa still wins. Who cares? It was a legal screen. Point blank. Stone Cold said it's the bottom line. Guys, how about you set a good screen? You're at the top level, at the top most historic university when it comes to college basketball over the last 30 years. And you set a crappy screen. You played your tail off. All those women in that game played their tail off. Incredible, incredible game. There can only be one winner. But it was more than just that play that decided that game. All right, shout out to Play with Purpose. I'm repping their shirt. My former player Hudson Boyd. It's his foundation here. You can see the website down there. They do great things. Great organization, as well as Tel Valhalla. Drinking out of their cup right now. Just a little spark from Advocare. I ain't got no sponsors. Maybe if they hear this, they'll be like, "Hey, you use our products. Maybe you'll sponsor us." Shout out to Mission 22 and all the folks on the weekends that go out, and the ambassadors that sell merchandise, raising money. Mission 22 trying to get veteran suicide down to 0, because it used to be an average of 22, and then it went up to 20, a little over 24 during the pandemic. So hopefully that gets a little. We can get that number to 0, because 1 is too many. Love y'all. I appreciate y'all listening. And next time, me and the big man, we're going to talk a little Cowboys versus Texans. Which franchise is better? Y'all take care. Peace.